Thank you for coming, guys. Thank you yourself also for coming. Let's start maybe from some introduction. What is your background and what is ideal background for such successful guy in the fashion business to start fashion business? What was your background?
You're being too kind. So my background is not in fashion. My background is in container shipping. So as a young man, when I was done studying, then I went around the world trying to fix supply chains in Oman and Dubai and China and India and so on. And I was always wearing a suit and a white shirt, and it was always in the most warm and humid places in the world. And I hated it because I was used to being a student and wearing very comfortable clothing, and now I'm sitting in an 18-hour long-haul flight in my white shirt, and it did not make sense to me that people were wearing this type of outfit everywhere. And then here, many years later, I'm sitting here and I made a business out of making stain and odor and wrinkle-free white shirts. Or that's how it started. Now we do a lot of different things, but it all started for a couple of years. It was just about making the most perfect shirts.
So basically, you didn't have any previous experience like in fashion or making clothes?
No, because I very much think we are not a fashion business. I don't want to follow trends. I don't think it's very sustainable to create the need in people to buy new outfits and new colors and so on every season. In the beginning, we were just saying you can have any shirt you want as long as it's white or blue. And then we keep it simple. And now, of course, the collection gets bigger and so on, but it's still only basics. And if you look at my closet and if you look at our most loyal customers, they don't buy a lot of clothing. And we think that's great. We run ads that says, buy less. And yeah.
Okay. So speaking about what you actually do, now you and me, we wear basically LABFRESH clothes, almost everything. I don't have socks. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, I have the socks.
Also, okay. So socks except pants, because you don't have pants.
I have the pants on.
That's good news. But do you have them in LABFRESH or no?
Yes.
Also, I missed that one. So I have one missing piece.
Yeah.
All right. So, 2 days ago, I recorded reels for Instagram when I put a red wine on myself, and then I put some water on that, and it's just disappeared. Yeah. So basically, it's the same shirt, what was on reels. I'm wearing that already for 2.5 days. How does it smell from there?
I can get closer. I'm not scared. Yeah, that's really good.
That's good. So if anybody want to smell, so for you guys online, that's a unique opportunity when you join us live. So next time, come here. So
yeah, and also my socks. It's now it's been at least 7 days for my socks. You can also smell those.
All right. So so this is not regular clothes. So tell a little bit about the clothes itself. Why it's so unique? So why I can put red wine on it? Why I can wear it for 2.5 and more days? Why I don't have like too much wrinkles? I think it's quite good after so many days. Why it's so? What is that?
Yeah. So well, let me start by saying that we didn't invent any of this. I'm not a scientist. It's not like we have this secret lab and we invented stuff that Hugo Boss and some of Hilfiger cannot do. All we did was that we found some really smart people who made all these technologies, but they never really get it out of the lab because no one built a supply chain for it. But that's what I did as a young man. So we just went around to the scientists and said, hey, can we have the exclusive rights to your patented treatment? And then we would go to Portugal and Switzerland and Italy and convince some very old mills to start using it. And the technology can be used by any brand. The only problem is that it's expensive and annoying. That's the big moat around our fortress. That's why we've been doing it for 5 years, and there's not a lot of other brands doing the same thing. In terms of how the technology works, it's instead of putting a lot of chemicals in a bath and putting fabrics through it, then we actually just found some old printing machines in Portugal that you use to print on t-shirts before you change to digital printing. And then we have a chemical paste instead of a fluid. And that paste we just print into the outside of the fabric. And then we buy some yarns like thread that has silver in it, and that's the antibacterial part. So we print this paste into the silver thread. Yeah, that's it's not crazy hard. It just requires a lot of time and a lot of prototyping, a lot of frustration, and then you got it.
So what was the most difficult part in that? Was it to build this supply chain, I believe, right? Because you say the technology was already there, right? So you did some experiments. You spent, 27 bottles of red wine, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. Oh, that was on drinking, but...
Drinking, mostly, probably.
Yeah. Like, it's a frustrating process because my first startup was about making a platform, like a personal shopping service, and we're building software, and you can have beta products, and you can iterate all the time. But when it's a physical product, every iteration requires you to make 60 meters, and it takes 3 months of work. So it took years to go from the first prototype until what I'm wearing now, which is the Generation 4. And it's also extremely old-fashioned in the textile mills. They're all 100 years old or more. And whenever you come there as relatively young founders and say, hey, can we do everything different? Each and every one of them would say, no, we tried it before, we don't want to do it. It doesn't work. And that's actually why we had to do crowdfunding, because the first order we placed had to be very, very big. And I wouldn't want to risk the savings of me and my wife on ordering 5,000 shirts if I don't know if anybody wants the shirts. So we thought, let's sell the shirts before we make them.
So that's how you came up with the idea of do Kickstarter funding, right?
Yeah.
When was it? It was in 2017.
That was in 2017. And at that time, I had sold my first startup to our German competitors. And we were sitting in Berlin. And I was really looking forward to going there. I had really high expectations. I took German lessons really intensely 4 times a week. And then it wasn't a lot of fun. And they didn't really want my opinion on anything. And I felt like I'm not very good at being an entrepreneur because no one wants my inputs. So I suddenly had a lot of time in my hands. And then I just started...
And some money.
Well, it was like, I don't drive a Ferrari or anything, but it was enough to not need a salary in the beginning when we started LABFRESH, at least. But it was not enough to make 5,000 shirts and not care about selling them.
And you came to the first Kickstarter campaign. We'll talk about that later because you had some more Kickstarter campaigns, not the one. You came with what? With just one product, with a shirt? Was it shirt the first one?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I love about Kickstarter.
Can you tell this a little bit more about your first campaign? Because I think that there are quite some people over there and over there who are interested in that, how you do crowdfunding. And if I'm not mistaken, you've been really, really successful. You say on your website that you're the biggest funded Dutch fashion startup, right? So.
Yeah, I think actually we are in Europe, and it started... because we needed it in order to make our first product. So it was just a video that my wife and I made in our apartment in Amsterdam, having one shirt and saying, hey, will you help us live out our dream? Please buy 2,000 of this one and then we can make it. But then because all the Kickstarter backers were so freaking nice, they showed up at events and they told their friends and they gave us tons of feedback. Then we loved it and we thought, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to have any venture capital. We're just going to build it with our customers. So today, our customers, they own 30% of the company. In 2018 and 19, we took investments from 14 guys for more than €1 million. And they still help us basically every week with stuff. And then also when we open new retail stores, we only sell in our own stores. Then we also ask if we can borrow money from them. So when we opened in my hometown of Copenhagen in November, they borrow us €400,000 at 4% interest rate per year. And we pay back over 4 years. And then we put them on the wall of heroes and we give them t-shirts that says LABFRESH owes me. And then they help us with a lot of things. It gives us an extreme sense of happiness to do it with them instead of with the bank or normal investors.
So that's why you call yourself a community-driven brand, right? Or community-driven...
Yeah.
What else does it bring to you? Because I can imagine it's also about the validation if you're doing right thing also, right? So the product itself. Well,
what it gives us is if you have really great technology. I know this from talking to some guys from the Tommy Hilfiger lab in New York, that they looked at the exact same technologies as us, but they don't have a way of beta testing it the way we do, right? When you develop an app, then you also put it in a closed beta and you get a couple of hundred, a couple of thousand users to use it real life and give you feedback. Did you get stains? Did you smell it? And you bike to work, you travel in it, whatever. Tommy Hilfiger looked at it in the exact same period as us, and they had 0 data points, and we had more than 100,000 because we had 5,000 users in 24 countries telling us how it works and what we need to make better. You develop a lot faster like that when you build in public.
So, and you send them shorts, you send them the examples, like pieces of the clothes to test it? Like how does it work technically? Because with application, it's quite easy, right? Because it's software.
Yeah.
You just publish it and thousands of people just downloading it.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's only a real beta for us if they pay for it. So in this case, we did it for 4 different campaigns for, I think, 1.5 million euros in total. So people, they pay now. And then in 3 to 6 months, you get your product. And then maybe normally it costs 100 euros and you get it for 80. That's it. But you still pay for it. And it's usually not a very good product because it's a beta product. I think they were only really good from generation 3. But then when we make new generations, you get a 40% discount and then you can buy the new one that works a bit better.
So basically people paying for better version of the product, right? Probably even higher price than retail price, or the same. It's 100, you say, right?
They get a discount, like an early bird discount on it. But yeah, when I say it now, it also doesn't sound like a very good deal.
Yes.
But yeah, that's just how it worked until now. So I realize now we have around 100,000 customers.
100,000, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more than 100,000 in 98 countries. And it doesn't scale. Like, we cannot do this with 2 million customers. But until you are, in our case, until we hit like 5 million in revenue, this was really possible. And now we have to be a bit more normal.
Okay, so you're normalizing already. Can you draw just a portrait of average customer or backer of LABFRESH? Who is that? Because we had a small talk before it started. The first thing Kasper asked me was like, tell me like where you work. Like, do people wear white shirts like you do? Right? Like, tell me about that. So you already have a picture or drawing of your ideal customer. Who is that?
Yeah, that had to change because in the beginning, the ideal customer was the young version of me, where I was having 180 travel days a year and always having a suit on and really finding myself cool or whatever by wearing it. And we had a lot of customers like that in the beginning. But after the pandemic, they didn't really get back to wearing shirts as much as before. So our customers also developed. But one distinction that we stayed with for the whole time was that we only wanted to sell to men, because men they don't return so much. Now there's also some women here, and it's not like I very much also like women, but you also return a lot, and you're a little bit less loyal, or can you say more open for trying new things. Our customers, if you treat them really well, even if you make mistakes, but if you're really nice to them when you explain it, they will be loyal for a very long time. And they don't have a need to try out a new brand of shirts or jeans or phone or whatever. It's just, now this is my brand for the next 20 years. And that's our kind of guy. And then...
Just for the record, my wife now is online, and she actually wears your white shirts.
All right.
T-shirts, I mean, white T-shirts, yeah. So
then she's much welcome also to be a customer. And then the other one is that it's highly educated people. I think because we were so technical in the beginning, and all of our videos were so long, and we showed all these videos that I thought were really cool from the factory. Then 84% of the first 20,000 customers, 84% had a university degree. And besides that, it's a lot of different people.
Okay, so that's ideal customer, a man with a university degree, from 20s to...
25 to 45.
So they need to be, to some extent, like early adopters. Not so many people still know about you, right? So although you have delivery, I think, worldwide, right? So online, at least in Europe, right?
Yeah, and in the beginning, we were one of these businesses that was really lucky to go viral. In this sense where the clip was, we didn't pay for it, but it was shown millions of times in Russian TV and Indian newspapers, and it was just everywhere. And then we got orders from a lot of countries, but our supply chain was not ready, so we lost money on every order. We almost lost all of our money and went bankrupt from just trying to serve people in all these countries.
Okay.
And that was not very smart, and the product was not good enough. And then we turned around and just focused mainly on Europe. And now really mainly focusing on Netherlands and Denmark. And that's much more healthy.
Okay. I also read in some news from 2018 you were going to open in Berlin, but something changed, right?
In Berlin?
Yeah, no?
Did we say that?
Yeah, it was some in news. So it was never on your plans, right?
That's where we lived in Germany.
Okay.
But we actually didn't like it that much. It's a nice city to visit, but I thought it was a really hardcore startup environment. So we prefer to open in Paris next year. That's the third country.
So far it's Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Rotterdam coming soon, and then going to be Paris next year, somewhere next year. And for each store, you're basically doing this crowdfunding to open the store. You're going to do the same for Paris as well, right?
Yes, if you want a LABFRESH store in your city, then you have to help us because we don't have a credit line with the bank.
So, but why are you doing that? I think it's easy for you now to get a credit line with the bank. You just don't want to do that, right? So tell me.
Okay, that's fair enough. You are calling me out on that.
Why are you doing that?
It's because when you open somewhere, I don't want to open a store and then no one cares about it. It's a hub concept, so there's always an office on top of the store, and we make sure to only place a coffee machine downstairs, and then we have content creators and the customer service and whatever that sits upstairs, but they have to go downstairs and hang out where the customers are in order to get a coffee. We have the events going, and there has to be something happening. If it's just a store with one person that stands at the counter and looking at their phone, that's not interesting. It has to be the hub that's also responsible for all the local French sales.
Okay. And also, before we go to all sustainability and maybe a little bit technology, I also wanted to understand how you're building this community, right? You said you have content creators, you have quite popular Instagram account, right? And my understanding that you yourself has quite some expertise in the digital things, and you do some lectures on that. You're a speaker on conferences about that, right? Can you tell is LABFRESH today is the ideal model how digital first fashion brand should look like, should operate like, or you see somebody else on the market who is better than you?
I don't think we're the ideal way it should look. No. I think we made it really complicated because we went into material science and started making fabrics, and it's horrible for cash flow when you make your own, when you buy your own chemicals and thread and stuff like that. I think what people are interested in is a lot of the time just about the crowdfunding part and about the technology, and those things are related. It's hard to activate your crowd if you don't have a virtuous purpose where you're trying to be super authentic and transparent and making a product that actually benefits the planet. If you have a normal business and you're trying to just make money, then your customers are not gonna help you the same way. So yeah, when I do talks, then it's mainly about that part, that if you open up yourself more and you're more vulnerable, then people are also more willing to help. And especially when it's men from 25 to 45 with a high education, the best way to get them engaged is to ask for their help. They love helping. They love giving feedback.
They're
so much feedback.
Saviors.
Yeah. Well, there is some savior complex or whatever. It's just, I know it for myself also now.
Same here. Ask my wife, right? So it's
that's what you're also doing now.
Therapists. They say this. That's why probably I also was engaged so much with you saying, okay, I can become a part of it, right?
Yeah. But it's also when we have students, if students are writing and saying, hey, we want to do your thesis about you, or there's a school class coming by or something, then I feel like I'm really busy, but I also feel like I want to help or, create some excitement about having your own business instead of always just making the safe choice and go and have a normal job. And
investing in index fund for the next 30 years, right? So it's quite boring instead of investing in LABFRESH, for example, right?
Well, I wouldn't recommend anyone to invest in a startup like ours. It's super risky. So
I believe so. Okay, just staying in this topic of being digital first for fashion brands. Let's say if big guys, I don't know, tell me what is the biggest fashion brand? I don't know, let's take H&M. If they come to you, right, and their head of marketing will come to you and will ask for how should they change the way they collaborate and interact with their customers, three main things, what they do wrong and how they need to change. What would be these three main things for big guys?
Oh, I think they do a lot of things right. I think they have all the right playbooks. The problem is just that they have one purpose, and that's to create shareholder value. And you cannot really use and roll out our model if your main reason to exist is to sell more, right? Every year you tell your shareholders, we're going to sell 15% more this year. And you have to. If you go out and you say, we are really happy we made better products, they were more expensive to make, but they're also better, and then we sold less of them, then you're going to have some really angry shareholders. I think the solution is just to not sell €5 t-shirts, no matter what you do, no matter how much sustainability communication and community training and whatever you do. If your products are really, really cheap, they will not have a positive impact.
Okay, so that's the first thing, right? The price of the product. It should not be cheap. It should be quality over price. Let's put it this way, right?
Yes, I think so.
What about community and interaction with the customers? What they do wrong?
I think a brand like H&M is really good at that, but they cannot be like us where you're just buying from Kasper and Lotte. They're too big for that, but they're very good at making campaigns and designing capsules and so on with a lot of very locally known influencers. That's cool. In terms of embracing new technology and so on, then when we first started, the reason why it's called LABFRESH is actually not because we thought that was a really good name for a consumer brand. We thought it was a really good name if you want to sell fabric to the big fashion houses. And we had meetings with the CEO of Hugo Boss and from the CEO of Suit Supply and the CEO of Tommy Hilfiger. I even gave a shirt to Mr. Tommy Hilfiger, and we played around with red wine together in the good old days. And they all think the technology is great. And then they see that it's expensive. And they might be able to fix that, but then they also realize that for brands like that, the cash cow is to sell the normal products. And for Hugo Boss and whatever, the guy who comes in and buys 10 white and blue shirts every year, that's money. That's the cash that you use to finance your flashy fashion collections. And if you screw up your cash cow, it screws up the whole cash foundation of your business. So it's just not beneficial for brands like that to embrace this kind of technology.
What about openness? Right? For me, also, LABFRESH, it's about openness. You know how much people investing in you. You tell a lot about actually, you're open about money overall. Like, is it also an important part of, building trust, building the community? Because I don't believe that the guys you mentioned, like Tommy or H&M or these guys, they're so open. Yeah, they do. They're open.
Because they're public listed.
Public, yes. But, to some extent.
Well, I have, of course, I have a lot of friends who also have their own businesses. And if you have a business where you take money out all the time, when you have a profit and you take it out and you buy a nice summer house or something, that's totally legitimate to do. But it's really hard to communicate to your community if you do that. So every time we have a profit, then we look at the size of it, and then we decide what are we going to do with it. Are we going to make a new product category? Are we going to open a new store? Whatever. We don't just take it out for ourselves. Probably we will do that one day because that's what you do with businesses. But so far, we think it's much more fun to put it here because otherwise, we already bought a nice house. We have everything we need. Otherwise, we just take it out of LABFRESH and invest it in other companies or buy stocks or buy Bitcoins or whatever. That would be stupid. I think it's gonna become much more money if I just keep it in LABFRESH and invest it there.
Okay, that's why this openness with money. It's necessary for community, but also you feel that it's the right way to basically invest money. That's why there is nothing to hide from it. How do you staying in this area? How do you see then the future? Where are you going to invest? Will it be indeed opening new product categories? What you do from time to time? Will it be to making, technology more advanced, and instead of wearing 2.5, 3.5 days, I will be able to wear it the whole week? Or will it be expanding in geographies, like you said in Paris, opening a store in Paris, although you will get money from people again to open it? So how do you see the future investments for LABFRESH?
Yeah, there's two sides of that. One is on the product side. It just all takes a long time, but we now got amazing the VBSO funding that you get normally when you develop software. We have textile engineers, so we also have the BSO funding now. And we also have these feasibility grants from MIT together with a lab partner in Switzerland to develop our own fibers and so on. And that part, there's some really exciting stuff coming out. All the new products like this shirt and the pants, they're 97% recycled fibers from ocean plastic or at least certified recycled plastic. We are using corn now for stretch instead of elastan, which is better when you wash it. There's all these small tweaks, but it's just, there's no newspaper that will put a headline in and saying LABFRESH pants are now 3% better. So it's something that we're excited about, but it's not the headlines. All of our products will be made with recycled fibers by 2026, maybe earlier, but prefer to be more certain. And then it's about rolling out these hubs with offices and stores. We think that's a lot of fun. Instead of the whole team sitting in the same office and having a big headquarters somewhere, and we just have disparate teams with small flex desk setups.
Okay. So just to recap, it's investment in technologies, which I believe it's quite heavy, demanding investment, right? So geographical expanding. What about the product categories? Will you start proposing new products in addition to what you have?
Yeah, if there's one requirement, or can you say request we get every day?
Yeah.
Every single day, it's to make women's wear. And it could be fun to do one day. So maybe in 2 years we will do it. Women are a lot more scary than men, and they have so many different fits and fabrics, and the fashion changes all the time. But we both are very excited about doing that. So I think that will probably also come one day.
Okay, you're excited but scared also, is that right? Because it can be a big fail, right?
Yes.
Okay, clear. So that's about this. Let's talk a little bit about the sustainability environment. You mentioned already a few moments. Can you make a summary pitch why LABFRESH is a sustainable and environmentally friendly brand? Let's do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we started, there are so many brands focusing on using less water in the consumption or using organic cotton or something like that. And we didn't want to go down that rabbit hole where you only look at the production phase. We wanted to look
in consumption, in production, you mean?
In the production phase.
Yeah.
We wanted to look at the life cycle. So we wanted to create products that you can wash less, because the washing, in the fashion industry, you look at the lifetime of a product based on how many washes it can get before it breaks. And we wanted it to be washed less so that you extend the lifetime. That was it. So it was just so you can buy less but better. And then that all starts with wearing the product for more days. And to help you wear it for more days, we have to make sure that it's less dirty and less smelly and less wrinkly and so on. And then after that, of course, there's only producing in Europe and using recycled fabrics and all that stuff. But a lot of brands do that. And the whole thing where you make products that, in average, our shirts are worn for 3.5 days between washes. Like that's the thing that is almost only us focusing on.
Okay, so it's durability, basically, right?
Yes.
So the main goal is to optimize everything against durability. So I need to buy less from you, right? That's the idea, right?
And that's because also that's like capitalistic in a way. It's something that you can never say if an H&M, you can never say it and really mean it, at least. Where you can say, fuck the trends, we don't want you to want new colors every season. You can't say that if you're a real business. And we are becoming a real business, of course. So maybe we will be less radical in 5 years. But we're 5 years old now, and we've been saying these things all along, and we can still pay our bills and grow. So until now it works.
Okay. There is another, let's say, alternative concept for sustainability. You say that I need to wear it longer. What happens, by the way, what happens at the end of life cycle with that? Is it recyclable clothes or not?
Yeah, that's the delicate question. And the easy answer is just to say yes, because it is, if you do enough of breaking it down. But if you have a blend in the fabric and you have various treatments on it and you have buttons and so on, it's extremely expensive to recycle it afterwards. So we can repair it and you can wear it for a very long time, but currently it's just for the next many years, most of the clothing you throw out is going to be in a landfill. It's just not going to be recycled. That's why we use recycled materials. We can help we can create new products all of all the waste.
Okay. And do you plan to do recycling of your own products at some point? Like if, for example, if I don't need this shirt anymore, can I bring it back to LABFRESH?
Oh, that was the original plan. And I was getting really annoyed and angry at people when they kept saying no. And we will get there. But right now it's just so expensive.
But if people are ready to pay for that, think about that.
No, they're not.
They're not? You check that?
Yeah, well, we would have to charge like the double in the retail price if you have to break it down afterwards. Okay.
So what do you think overall about the alternative concept when you buy basically clothes, regular clothes, and then you, I don't know, cutting off all these buttons as you mentioned, and you recycle and you produce new clothes of that. And there are some companies we discussed with you on the market who do that. It's a little bit more long cycle. What are your thoughts about that?
You're talking about products that are 100% recyclable, like a closed
100%
loop.
recyclable, old grandma
I think it's completely amazing. Anything that's a closed loop where you can give them back your products to the same brand and they turn it into a new product, amazing. The only problem is that it cannot be these amazing fabrics that can do a lot of extra stuff. It's going to be 100% cotton, and it's probably going to be degraded a little bit when you have it in the recycled version. So it would help. The lifetime of that fabric will be a lot shorter, but you're recycling it, so that's still a win-win in my book. It's still amazing.
Good. Guys, by the way, at the end, you will be able to ask your questions, so think about them. So then you will have a chance. Before that, I have a couple more questions. You do business, you open it with your partner, right?
Yes.
How is that to open the business with your partner and to run it? Because in the previous episode, I've been talking to Sergey. You met him.
Yeah.
He also opened this restaurant, Blin Queen,
with his wife.
With his wife, right?
Oh, we have a lot to talk about.
I didn't ask these questions to him, but and that was my mistake. Yeah. So I want to ask this question to you.
It's amazing and I love it, but it's also very intense. So we had to make some rules during the days. And when everything is going well, of course, it's just fun. And our factories are in amazing countries. We could produce in Portugal and Switzerland and Italy. And you can always make the trips a little longer and see a few factories.
And socks.
And socks. Yeah, that country I don't mention because they're made in China. So that I take that out of the
story. Just to be very precise, right?
Yeah. Well, the socks are just like 1% of the revenue. So we didn't set that up in Europe yet.
Okay. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Okay, no problem. So it is nice, but you have to have some strict rules about what you're doing and where you talk about business. And for example, working at home together, especially during the pandemic, is just horrible because it's just us sitting in the same Slack channel, sending things to each other. And it's much better now when there's a bigger team and everything is spread out and we're not really in the same meetings. Then it's really beneficial because you just have a passion for the same things. And with my first startup, when I came home and I was obsessing about my new investor or the new employees or something, then I couldn't really talk with my ex-girlfriend about it because she would just find it annoying and wanting to talk about other things, which is totally reasonable. I was the unreasonable one, but now I can just nerd out and just talk about this one thing for most of the time.
So you basically happy about how things going on, right? So with running business with your partner, if you will give advice to some of our watchers, you will fully support this idea, right?
I would say so. I would not support it for all relationships, but for us, we actually met at work. Lotte was one of my first 40 employees in my first startup, and I met her in the office the first time. I met her. I had been in Copenhagen starting up our office, and I come back, and this little Chihuahua comes running out, and she comes after it and say, "Oh, sorry, your co-founder told me I can bring it to work every day." And then that was the first time I spoke to her.
Okay.
So we never not worked together.
Okay, so for you it's just natural.
I would say so, and I wouldn't want to have the business without her.
Can I bring you one example in future life cycle of your company when it can be it may become a problem, and not only with your partner, but with all your 30% of co-owners probably who are customers. You understand about the moment I'm talking about, probably, right? The exit. So at some point, something will happen. Either that's why you say that H&M is doing very well, all good, because potentially they can be a strategic investor in your company, right?
Okay.
Maybe not because of that. There will be some exit. How do you see the exit? Eventually, it will happen.
But does it really have to happen? Yeah, okay. So
you prefer not to think about that?
No, there will be a partial exit. So we are planning to have a secondary where we will sell shares for a couple of million euros to whoever wants to get out. But the only way for shareholders to make back their money is not to sell the entire company. You can. There's plenty of companies doing secondaries where strategic investors will buy a minority stake, and they will buy. We don't want to take in growth capital, but we are fine with any shareholders selling their shares in one of these rounds. So, if we exit one day, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna invest in an index fund and do real estate and play a lot of golf? Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm gonna do that for a few months. But I have, since I was 18, 19 years old, I've been starting businesses, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's my biggest hobby. I read an average 12 hours on my Pocket app about startups and stuff, like it's football teams. And I think I would just start a new one if I stopped with this one. But I'm not a young man anymore. I'm 37. I started 3 companies now for my apartments, and it's really rough in the beginning. And I think I'm too old now to do it from scratch again. So I think it's better if I just stay with this one.
But apartments have been getting bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah, that's true. The first one was 50 square meters, and of course our apartment now is bigger than that.
Okay. So when you cash out from LABFRESH, going to be probably already huge mansion.
I wouldn't want to, honestly. The house we have now is it's on Brouwersgracht in Jordan with a beautiful canal view and a big balcony, and we sit on that balcony under the heater every day. And there's plenty of room for having family there, and I think we will be there for many years.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Let's dream about the future of fashion and the future of clothing.
Yeah.
Before we go to your questions, guys, right? So be ready. How do you see? Because LABFRESH, it's really innovative company, right? For like 5 years ago, but even now, right?
Yeah.
For look at other brands. So talking to founder of really innovative company, how do you see really innovative company in this industry in 10, 15 years? What is that? And I can give you a couple of thoughts. When I was preparing for that, I was thinking myself, and I see 2 directions, right? So one direction is basically working on materials, making them more durable, more resistant, blah, blah, blah. So I can fly to Mars eventually in white shirt, right?
Yes.
Without getting harm. And another direction, it's getting the clothes more, let's say, smart, like connected with your devices. And honestly, this way, it's a little bit creepy. I don't see it as a future. So I'm wondering, how do you see the future?
Connected clothing, I don't see as the future, because you don't wear the same clothing all the time. You can be connected in a bunch of other ways. But I do see a future where this thing about buying, a white cotton t-shirt and then you wear it for one day, and then you put it in the washer and then it loses the shape. Mm-hmm. And then you feel totally normal about that. I think in the future, that will be seen as, I hope it will be seen as unethical behavior. That we will all feel like, maybe I should wear it for a few more days, and maybe I should pay a few euros more and then have the product that has a bit of technology in it. I think so.
Okay. So guys, are you ready with your questions? Yeah, please. I will repeat questions. So before...
Actually, I was also wondering, is it Glühwein I can smell?
You want a Glühwein?
Glühwein? That would be amazing.
Yeah, so Denise, if you can help us.
Smells like Christmas.
Guys, yes, so guys,
okay.
Guys,
this guy first.
Who is online, right? If you have a Glühwein as well, so next time join us here in the restaurant. Thank you for helping me with this.
Yeah, and all the food looks amazing and smells amazing.
We have two questions right now available. Let's go first here, right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, ladies first. You okay with that?
Okay. I'll start with this one. Well, it sounds like you have an approach of like an outdoor sportwear brand, pretty much.
Yeah.
With all the like scientific approach and the focus on durability, do you ever follow any steps or inspiration from brands like Arc'teryx or Nike or, I don't know, Gore-Tex technology?
Okay, just to repeat the
Just they used to be like open source stuff.
to repeat the question. So if I got it correctly, are you getting inspired, at least in your technology part of your company, from these sport brands like Nike or Stone Island?
Gore-Tex, Arc'teryx.
Yeah, that's spot on. That's exactly how everything we're doing, that where it's coming from. We literally just looked at all this amazing technology from Patagonia, from Arc'teryx, which is, my brother is one of the best snipers in Danish history, and all of his friends and soldier buddies and so on, they cannot stop talking about that brand. And there was so much amazing technology, and I thought, and also in sportswear, and you wear it when you go on a mountain and when you go in the gym, and then you go back home and then you wear clothing that's just naked and untreated, and I thought that was stupid.
And do you understand that it also comes from NASA? Like, this is
Yeah.
all of those brands inspired by actually even bigger, like giant companies that are working on like space work.
Yeah, but they're not hiding it, these companies, because for one of the first fairs I went to, technical fairs, it's called Performance Days in Munich, they would have flamethrowers on fabric and cutting proof and bulletproof jackets. But they also had an astronaut suit running around, and they talked about this antibacterial treatment. And they said that our technology went into space. If it's good enough for space, it's good enough for your customers. And I thought, I need that in my shirts.
So, and you mentioned that your team, the science team, worked. Did you hire your own team, or do you have a third party working?
So you hire your own scientists, so you said you had partners in Switzerland, right?
Yeah, we have our own textile engineers, but we don't have our own huge lab. We have a few simple equipments, but it would be really expensive to do. The machinery is really expensive. So we have some science partners. The main one has for many years been in Switzerland, and it's not something we can insource completely. We just cannot attract the right type of what can you say, talent for that.
So people from NASA not applying for job at LABFRESH yet?
Yeah, well, that would be amazing. That didn't happen yet, but if someone applies from NASA, I can almost promise you that we would hire them, just so I could, hear a lot of stories, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So now we will move there, and we can come back to you. Okay, good. So please go ahead. Yeah.
In general, I have two of them, so let's start with a simple one. If you have starts what would you do?
So if you need to start basically LABFRESH, the same business today, what you would do different from 2017?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I've given a lot of different answers to that over the years, even at some point saying not starting it with my wife. Now I'm very happy about that. So I think the technology we fell in love with in the beginning was too complicated. It has taken so much time and money to get here, and I wouldn't really recommend doing it again. I would probably have done something. I mean, it can still turn out to be this thing others can copy, but right now it also means we can produce very fast, so it puts a limit to how big we can become. And so if I had to look back and start again now, I would choose technology that's a bit simpler. Like a stupid thing, but when we started and we thought stretch in pants or a stretch in shirts, that's really great. Non-iron shirts, that's really great, but that's too normal. Too many brands are doing that. I kind of wish we had just done something simple, like pants made out of cotton with some elastan, and then it would have been super easy to set up.
But it doesn't make headlines.
No, that's probably true. Not that I care about the headlines, but I just thought it was a lot of fun to make our own fabrics in the beginning, and we got caught up in all this new technology and getting excited, and that's fun. But business-wise, it would have made more sense to keep it a bit simpler. I think it's the same with software, right? If sometimes you can get caught up in making the most amazing architecture when you could just have used an existing library or something like that.
So in software, we call it like MVP, minimal viable product. I think it's a little bit different in the real world, in the closing. To create even MVP, it's a quite big investment, I believe, right? So, and when you say start smaller, maybe with not so sophisticated technology, it's still big, I believe, right?
Well, it becomes a big investment because it doesn't exist. I cannot piggyback on existing libraries of code.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, open source.
Which
like,
I could have done. Like I could have chosen something that someone else was already using, but that was not fully developed, and then make it 20% better or something like that.
But by the way, it's very good topic, because I know there are some more questions about the technologies. All of that is has patents, right? So, and I believe, I don't know if you own patents for these technologies or that's your partners who own it, because in software we have a lot of open source, right? So here it's not, right? So that's why you heavily depend on basically supplier of this technology, and you need to have very good relationship with them, I believe.
In the beginning, it was with patents.
Yeah.
And we kept it as our fierce secrets, and no one can have it.
Okay.
But it was not possible to keep up. There's too much development. Fresh core, yeah. So we had the exclusive rights to the patents, to the patented treatments. But it's a lot of work to stay on top of that. And now all of it is open source stuff, and we are happy if other brands start using it. All we want is for people to feel like it's not cool to buy the really cheap fast fashion, or that it should be a normal requirement to want your products to be antibacterial or something like that. Then if other brands start using the same thing, it's only beneficial to us now.
Yeah, it's very healthy and inspiring thinking.
Our products are very expensive to make because not a lot are doing it. But as soon as Tommy Hilfiger and Hugo Boss say, we're also going to do it, my prices are going to drop a lot. I bet they will go down 30% within a year or two. That would be amazing.
By the way, are you unveiling your margin or your profitability or no?
If we are what?
Unveiling, making it public. Are you talking about that? I didn't find it.
I don't think so. We have 63% margin. But in fashion in general, you talk about having 80% in order to make a profit. So the difference between 63% and 80%, that's the fun.
But they have big overhead. Probably you having your office on the second floor, basically on the top of your store, it's quite not very expensive way to run the business, right?
Yeah, but it would make sense to have a bigger team. We just we don't like it, and it makes it a bit uncomfortable to have too many people on the payroll, and we just try to keep everything very simple.
Especially in Netherlands, hiring, firing people. Not so I understand.
It's really hard here. In our Danish office, it's really easy. You can say.
Oh, it's different in Denmark.
In Denmark, we have this flexicurity model, so you can say, "I'm not really feeling it. I don't like how you look," and then goodbye, and then they immediately go into the flexicurity system, and then you get up to 90% of your salary for, I think it's still 2 years. At least when I left Denmark, you can get 90% of your salary for 2 years until you find a new job. And there's no unemployment, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had second question? So let's keep it, let's put it on stack. And can we get your second question? And I will get back to you as well. You forgot it. Okay. Denise?
But those.
Okay. Guys over there, your question. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, how does your usual day look like now? How it differs from the early days of the company?
So I will just repeat. How does your work day look like today, comparing how was it in 2017 when you just started?
Yeah, so back then I was building myself most things. I would make the ads, I would write the text for the website. Lotte would build the website. We would visit the factories together, and there's an amazing energy that you get out of being able to do everything on your own in the early days. I think that was really amazing. If you do that forever, then it's also not fun. If you look at my day yesterday and today, then it's all meetings. Then it's like 8-10 meetings a day. And if it's in person, maybe I can get some energy out of it. But now it's a lot talking to the team and the different partners. And I have to become better at that because I can be a bit impatient, and I'm really good at giving feedback, but I don't really notice the effect it has in the other end. So maybe I just keep on going until I destroy someone's soul. So I have to be a lot better at being a manager, because I never really did that, I guess.
But you're still quite approachable. Basically, how we actually got here. So I just dropped email to Kasper. I didn't expect that he will even respond, but you responded, and for some reason you even agreed to participate, right? So you're quite approachable. That's why you're pretty good, like in management of things, since you can find time for interviews and etc.
I think if you look at your LinkedIn or in your WhatsApp, you can see you get messages from me before I get out of bed and when I get in bed in the evening.
It's quite synchronized with myself. That's why it's.
I respond to everything on LinkedIn and everything on my Instagram or whatever every day, I guess. Yeah, but I do it not necessarily not in the office.
Okay. So
and also you're a customer, like you have so many amazing things from us.
That's how I started my email.
Yeah, exactly. Then I will help with a lot of things, but there's also a lot of podcasts out here and a lot of people who don't have any genuine interest, and then I think it's less
when
fun.
I wrote email, I thought, okay, Kasper, a lot on TV, a lot on podcasts. He's just media guy, right? So, and second point was like, I'm quite dedicated to the brand. When I come to the store and they usually ask me, okay, what is your name or email? My name is quite long. That's why I type it usually myself. When I type myself, I see my profile in their system, right? And I see how much I spent each time. So each time this number bigger and bigger. You know, when you buy clothes which serves you forever and you don't need to buy anything, you keep spending money on that brand. I don't know how you do that. So that's why I put in the email that I'm a customer. I knew that they're a community-driven brand. So from one side, I was amazed that you responded and you agreed. From another side, I wasn't surprised. I feel that you're kind of the founder who is really engaged in the communication with the customers. And
if you're a customer, and the same goes for Lada, then we will do plenty of things. Yeah. We have the kid of another customer coming in to be an intern in the store for a week, which he's 13 years old, so it's not really valuable, but we want to help with all these things. It makes the whole team feel good. We cannot donate hundreds of thousands of euros to a charity or something, but we can be there for the people that are also helping us.
Yeah, that's very attractive and amazing. Yeah. So did you recall a question?
Yeah. So right now, honestly, let's say brands like Hugo Boss that you mentioned, if they would offer you to give funds for like a research team or to start multiple flagship stores, where would you say the limitation would be too much for you to get like their direction versus like you will have to reduce the funds?
You mean if they if Hugo Boss would invest money into LABFRESH?
Yeah. So just to repeat the question, so where is the limit you will allow involvement or interruption in your business, how you run it from the investor, right? From big investor, right? Like Hugo Boss, as you brought as an example, right? So is there this limit, like where you will say, stop, I cannot allow you to influence anymore, I want to run it myself?
Yeah, there's our investors now don't have any influence. We don't have a board or something like that. But that's also too easy to say, right? That they cannot have any influence. Give us your money.
Sorry, what I meant, like Hugo Boss will be someone who also gives you access to, let's say, their factories or their team too, you know? But they're like, but you have to do this, and you're like, no, I cannot.
We can be open-minded for a lot of things if they know what they're doing and they have and we have the same vision in mind. So if they sincerely are trying to get our technologies to make it scalable, we can accept plenty of things. If they say we have to hire a CEO from the outside, I can probably get behind that as long as I like the guy or girl. Or I think we are pretty open-minded like that as long as the vision is right and we still enjoy what we're doing.
But Hugo Boss is a good example because not far from here there is advertising and it was written there, Hugo Boss, be your own boss. So it looks like that they are okay. Be
your own boss. Yeah, that's nice.
They're okay for you to stay in the
It sounds like it, from the billboard. Yeah.
Why should they lie on the billboard?
Why would they lie? Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Denise, you had one more question, I believe, right? Okay. So we are out of Glintwein.
Out of what?
Glintwein.
No.
Glühwein.
Glühwein, yeah. Okay. It doesn't taste like Christmas then. It's not that kind of wine, right? No? I can have a normal wine, I guess.
And all that was on the record, guys. Yeah.
Now, the question itself. With a small register, for now there is a couple of startups who try to implement subscription model on your market. What do you think that would make any sense?
Okay, I will just repeat the question. There are several startups in the clothing and the fashion industry who build their business model on subscription-based business model. I think I know the answer, but yeah, what do you think about that?
So I'm personally a fan of subscription models. I get my vitamins like that and a ton of other things. For clothing, it can be a little bit harder because it's the way you get people to buy more than they maybe need. So you need them to be able to postpone next deliveries a lot. What I really like in the clothing area is to have these membership clubs. So there's an American startup called Italic that charges you a membership fee of $60 per year. And then they claim that all the products are at cost price. And the only profit they have per year is the $60 that you pay as a member. And then there's just transparent pricing. They say these shoes, they cost $155 to make at the factory. And we sell them to you for $155. Boom. That I love. Like that's the ultimate, that you can say what the actual price is and you can show pictures from the factory and everything.
But what you described before, does it make any sense that some people would pay, for example, for supplement? I'm not talking that subscription will be cheaper, it should be higher. Normal price, but things are known that my clothes will be
Recycled, yeah. So yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, so basically subscription based, and it's not only about getting new products each month, but also included, for example, recycling of the old clothes, and you just pay the same amount each month.
I actually think that would be an amazing business model, like further out into the future, where you basically subscribe to how much LABFRESH clothing you want, and then you choose a subscription where you have 5 shirts and 2 t-shirts and 2 pants and whatever. And whenever you want an exchange, you can just send 2 of them in and get some new colors or some completely new versions. And yeah, you just pay your subscription every month and then you have clothing. I think that would be brilliant. And we can just rag it all together, all the used stuff, and recycle it.
as soon as you start.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, are there any other questions? Yes, please go ahead. What wine do you prefer? Yeah, because according to your website, it's just red everywhere. Right?
Yeah, just red wine. Yeah, let's do that. Good question.
But you don't have red wine anymore in your store, because when I first time came there more than a year ago, you had the red wine, which you can put on the fabric and then wash it out with water. You don't do it anymore. Why? Why so?
It's because this red wine spill it took over our entire lives, and people were just throwing stuff on their shirts all the time, and it became this gimmick product. And we wanted focus to be on some of all the other amazing things in the technology. So we did these surveys where you can ask people a bunch of questions about what is special about this brand. And people didn't know that it was antibacterial or that it had stretch or didn't wrinkle. They just knew it repels red wine. We thought it's not really the top 5 feature of any of our customers. Number 1 is that they don't have to care about having wet armpits, like visible sweat stains. And number 2 is that they don't have to be scared about smelling. And then it's stretched and then iron and so on. So yeah, we just needed we needed to take this big thing away so they could see the other nice things.
And that's basically, I've been in the same hook. So basically, I wanted to promote this event. And the first thing I did, of course, I put red wine on myself. And it just got quite some views. Probably the most popular reels I've ever created, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time...
I used to go on stage and do it every single time.
I can imagine.
If I was somewhere.
So there is a red wine.
Thank you so much.
Actually, when I was planning this meeting, I thought, oh, that would be quite fun. At the end of the interview, you will spill some red wine on myself. But then, don't worry.
oh, this is what's happening. Oh yeah, okay.
Then I thought, should I do it vice versa? No.
It's not. What's the flaw though? We had this problem before.
I think I agree with you, right? So, and that's I think that's a problem of such kind of very successful. Tricks which some startups have in the beginning, and then everybody remembers them about that, and then you become So it becomes a problem, not a solution like it was in the beginning, how everybody knew you. It's like being an actor who played his first role as a Hitler, and then you Hitler forever in all movies. Ahead, right? So you don't, guys. I can play in comedy as a Hitler.
Yeah, very true.
True, and now you're trying to probably change this perception, right? That's what's happening, right? That's why I decided not to do it at the end
it's also,
of the interview.
They are not as crazy at repelling red wine as they were in the early days because we just use, it's more natural fabrics now.
So less chemical layer on the top, like it was comparing how it was in the beginning, right?
Yeah, it's just like we cut like 90% of the chemicals.
Yeah.
Not that it was bad chemicals. We don't use any PFAS chemicals or something like that in these products anymore. We had it in the prototypes. But you can just get maybe it becomes 10% less good or 20% less good, but you cut 90% of all the treatments, and that's a good trade-off for us.
And it's already enough. A lot of videos with red wine, how people... That for me looks like a funnel. You know LABFRESH from this wine story, and then you becoming more and more mature customer, like myself. I don't like now red wine tricks anymore.
No? I mean, that is indeed the red wine spill is just really good at getting people's attention. And then later in the funnel, you show them all the things that they really care about, like non-iron and stretch and sustainability or something like that.
But from time to time, maybe having these things
just
with red wine over dinner, make some impression.
We still have the red wine below the sink in the front of the store. So when someone comes in and say, "Hey, can I see that thing?" I'm like, okay, one more time. This is the last time.
All right, guys. Any other questions? If not, I think we're gonna. Yes.
So when I wake up in the morning, I like to put on a new shirt, not because my old shirt stinks, but just because of the kind of the ritual of the morning, taking like a fresh shirt. I think there's a lot of people that have that.
Yeah.
I have a solution for that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can answer first and then you will answer the proper answer on this question. Yes. So I have several white shirts from LABFRESH. So during the week, I usually use from 2 to 3. So basically, I'm not wearing each day same shirt. What I do, I just wear first day this shirt and then on the third day. And then the second day and fourth day. So, even and even day. So that's solution for me. So I'm not wearing the same shirt every day. So if anybody asks, Sasha, you wearing the same shirt every day? No.
Yeah.
Every second day.
No, but it is true. It's a really nice feeling when you take on a crispy white shirt, fresh out of laundry. It smells nice. It's all crispy. And then when I take this one on and it's day number 3, of course you can see a little bit of maybe something from your skin here or whatever.
But you still cannot feel anything. I don't feel anything.
No, I mean, it doesn't smell, but it also doesn't smell like laundry after 3 days. I don't know about you. So. But we will have some fabric sprays soon in the shop, I think within 2 months. And these sprays, if you give it that, then you spray it and it smells like laundry.
Wow.
Another question, because with shirts I do that, but I tend to work a lot with my hands. So with working clothes, I hardly have time to wash my working clothes during the week. So I wear them 5 days in a week, almost always, because you just kind of have to. I don't have extra sets.
5 days in a row, the same pants or?
Yeah, so like overalls.
Overalls, all right.
Would you be interested in doing workwear, like real workwear?
So I would love to do that.
Just to repeat the question, I do you want to make a real workwear instead of just office style shirts?
Yeah, I would personally love it. And I want to do it together with Carhartt because that's a really cool company. And I have some really good ideas if they're up for it. We also did try to do it with the KLM, for example, making their uniforms. I remember walking around in Portugal with all these KLM shirts that they gave from us, but we can make much better products. But for a lot of workwear, the B2B deals, the margins are just too low. They will pay €8 for a new shirt or something, and we pay much more than that to make them.
But you can make them significantly better, because I mean, so my overalls are ripped about 5 a year. So.
Well, we haven't experimented with really rough fabrics because all of it is like replicating office wear.
Yeah, of course. But would you be interested? I mean, workwear needs to be tough.
And we would make workwear for restaurants and hotels and flight attendants and that kind of stuff first.
Yeah.
And then this I would love to do later, and we would exactly make it flame repellent and so on. Yeah.
Start with the rocket.
Yes. And I would be staring in that video. I would be holding the flamethrower. It would go viral, I believe it. Yeah.
You're master of viral videos, so I'm sure in that. Guys, any other questions? Looks like no. So thank you very much, Kasper, for
thank you
joining
for
us
inviting.
tonight. You still have some time to read your red wine. And I think we should stop streaming. Thank you very much, guys, over there.
Bye.